Hi everyone, this is Darcy with preservingmysanity.com. Welcome to today's episode of What's in Your Fridge. I just wanted to get together this afternoon, and I know with everything that's going on right now, some of us are getting to a point where we might have random things in our refrigerators that we aren't sure what to do with. We're trying not to go to the store too much right now, so I just wanted to give everybody the opportunity to talk about it with me, and basically if you want to participate, you can tell me in the comments a few random ingredients that you have in your fridge, and I can help you figure out what to do with them. My husband and I do this a lot. We actually, one of our favorite shows is watching Chopped on Food Network, and normally we do go to the grocery store quite a bit, and we do have quite a few ingredients in stock in our fridge and in our pantry and stuff, but there are still times when getting creative is kind of fun. So I have a few things that I was going to share with you today, just a few things that we've done in the last week, but as people come in, if you want to share in the comments, I'll be watching for those too. So if you actually don't watch this live and you watch a replay later, you're also welcome to put your ingredients in the comments, and I can just answer you that way too. So basically, a good example of what's in your fridge that we did just last night is one of the more popular Midwest dinners is Tater Tot Casserole. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically cooked ground burger mixed with onions if you want, diced onions, and then a can of cream of mushroom soup. And you put all of that in the bottom layer of a 9x13 pan. And then you take vegetables of your choice, which, hi Vicky. Then for your next layer, that's actually my mom, but I feel weird saying hi mom, so hi Vicky. So for your second layer of tater tot casserole, you take vegetables of your choice. I usually use peas and corn. Last night we actually used frozen mixed vegetables, which were like peas, corn, carrots, lima beans, and green beans. But you put that in the second layer, and then you make another layer of shredded cheddar cheese, and then the top layer is frozen tater tots. So we don't make it too often, but we do make it sometimes, and we hadn't had it in a while, and my husband thought it sounded really good, but we didn't have any tater tots. And our grocery store is open and it's stocked and everything, but I just, that's not something that's necessary to go to the store for right now. So we had some frozen hash browns. And so last night we made the tater tot casserole with frozen hash browns on top. It worked out pretty well. We actually just mixed the hash browns with a little bit of butter and a little bit of vegetable oil. We just stirred that into the hash browns, and then we just put the raw hash browns on top of the casserole, and then baked it at 350 for like an hour. Our broiler on our oven actually doesn't work, so it's always something. But it would have been a good meal to be able to use the broiler for the last 5 or 10 minutes to get them, crispy on top. But they were done. It was really good actually. It worked. So that's one example of, a meal that we made this week that prevented us from taking a trip to the store. So hi Rebecca, thanks for coming on. So if you have any ingredients that you want to throw at me, I'm talking about a meal that we made this week with hash browns instead of tater tots. So just to give everybody an idea, but I was just going to I'm talking about a few things that we're doing right now to try to not go to the grocery store as much. So another thing that I had on my list that I was going to mention, if you guys follow my stories at all, you've probably seen me talk about caramelized onions. But caramelized onions are something that we've actually been keeping in our refrigerator recently because they're saying that in general, onions are good for boosting your immune system. And so I've seen several articles talking about trying to eat more onions and garlic and turmeric and green tea. So we've been trying to do all of those things, but we've been keeping a bowl of caramelized onions in our fridge, which basically you just slice up a bunch of yellow onions are what we use. You can use whatever kind of onion that you like. You slice them up into rings or half rings, whatever you like. Put them in a skillet on the stove with some butter or oil. I don't use a lot. Some recipes call for a lot. I just use, I don't know, for like a whole 12-inch skillet of onions, I maybe use between a fourth and a half stick of butter. But you basically just cook it really, really low. If you cook it too hot, then you're basically making grilled onions. And so if you cook them too hot to begin with, they'll never really caramelize right. So basically you just put them in the pan, cook them on really low, and it takes them like 35 to 40 minutes until they're done. So just kind of keep stirring them periodically, and then once they're done, they'll turn kind of a golden brown color and be really tender, and they'll get sweet. Some people, you can add a little bit of sugar at the end too if you want, just to help them get a little bit sweeter. You don't want to do that too soon because it can make them burn. Rebecca asks, what else can you use them on? Burgers? Yeah, you can use them on burgers. We actually made some uncured hot dogs this weekend, and we were putting them on our hot dogs. I like to make grilled cheese sandwiches with them, so I'll make like just a grilled cheese sandwich for lunch and just put some of the onions on there. I think they're also good in quesadillas. Another thing I was going to mention here that I made this weekend was kale salad, and I actually put some of the caramelized onions in my kale salad, because usually I'll put, like diced up or sliced up raw onions in my salad. So I just use some of the caramelized ones instead. So there's lots of things that you can do with them. If you're making a pasta dish or something, you can throw a few of them in there. It's just really handy to have them all ready to go. You can also make onion dip with them. It's not super healthy, but you take those caramelized onions and you add mayonnaise and Greek yogurt to them and make it into a dip, and it's really good with chips. So those are just some of the things we like to do with the caramelized onions. I mentioned the kale salad. Another thing that I did last week when I went to the grocery store for what I'm trying to make be my last trip for a while, I bought a great big bag of kale. They had a huge bag of kale for like $3. Kale is also really good for you. It's got a lot of vitamins in it. So this weekend I took that bag of kale and I made kale salad with half of it. And then basically with the kale salad, you can buy like a creamy poppy seed dressing in the salad dressing aisle. This weekend I just made some. I took like equal amounts of mayonnaise and Greek yogurt, and I put onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper, lemon juice, sugar, and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. I made that dressing, and then I just added kale to it, and I have some pumpkin seeds in the cabinet that need to be used, so I toasted some pumpkin seeds and I put some craisins in there. Usually we do walnuts, so the pumpkin seeds were a little different. They're good in there. And then the caramelized onions that I mentioned. A couple weeks ago when I made kale salad, I just kind of dumped a blob of the onions in there, and it didn't really get stirred into the salad very well. So this weekend when I made it, I actually put the onions into the dressing part and stirred it all up really well, and it stirred up into the salad a lot better this time. And then with the other half bag of kale, I just cooked it. I put it in a saucepan with some, just a little, like a pot with a lid with a little bit of water in the bottom, and I just cooked it on pretty low, added some salt and pepper to it until it was cooked tender, and then it just went in a bowl in the fridge, so it's just ready to use for whatever meal we want to add some kale to. So we haven't really been able to get any good lettuce at our store, so we're kind of pretending kale is our lettuce, and we're just trying to eat it with our meals however we can. Another kind of creative meal idea, I guess. My husband made this the other night, speaking of kale. I wasn't really feeling very creative for dinner, and he's actually better at this whole creative ingredient thing than me. But we had some frozen sliced turkey in the freezer because we like to buy frozen turkey breasts and then we cook them. And then when they're cooked, we just freeze them that way and then pull them out for lunch meat or whatever. So we had a couple of bags of turkey in the freezer. And so the other night we took one out, and he actually cut some of the turkey up into pieces and made like turkey gravy. And then he made cheesy grits. So we have just like a coarse ground cornmeal that we buy. And so he just takes coarse ground cornmeal and water basically and brings it to a boil and whisks it, and it turns into grits. Grits are, I don't know if you're not familiar with grits, they're kind of a southern thing. You've probably heard of shrimp and grits, but grits are comparable to malto meal. If you're familiar with malto meal, as a kid I had that for breakfast a lot. Grits are made out of like ground corn. Polenta is another form of grits. Polenta is usually like more in a loaf type format. Anyway, he made cheesy grits and he put those on the bottom of the plate. And then he had some of our cooked kale that we had in the fridge that we had on hand, and he put some kale on it and some seasonings. And then he put the turkey gravy on top of that. And it was good. It was, I don't know what you call it, but it was really good. So that's just, just a few ideas. Like that's what we had. That's what we made dinner with. I just would encourage you to, I guess, think about that. As you're looking in your fridge or your pantry and you're wondering what to make and you don't think you have anything to put together for a dinner, just think about what you have, and don't be afraid to try new things. We always say that, even if it's not the best thing we ever had, it's still dinner. So that's kind of how we look at it. Save yourself a trip to the store if you don't have to go to the store. So yeah, I guess that's about all that I had today. Nobody has had any comments here that they want me to try to help with. So like I said, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and tell me in the comments what you've got in your fridge or your pantry, and I would be happy to answer you in the comments. But thanks for those who did join me today, and I hope you have a great afternoon, and stay healthy. Stay healthy and stay relaxed. It's hard not to stress out right now, so just try to stay relaxed and stay healthy. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you later. This is Darcy, preservingmysanity.com. Bye.